Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something you end up enjoying. You never know, it could happen. Well, it's that time of the month. I don't think I can quite finish anything else by the end of the month, so I figured I'd jump in right before. Figured I'd do a monthly update for the month of May and then a TBR for the month of June. I am going on vacation next week, so this is kind of in prep for that. I do have at least one video scheduled, hopefully two if I can get it out there. And remember that I do have an ongoing giveaway, so definitely check out my last video. It is either a hardcover of this bad boy, this baby, not my advanced review copy. That stays mine. Sorry if I was unclear in the last video. Hardcover of this or your choice, either this or Curse of the Mistwraith, the first book in the series, which I could only get on paperback, otherwise the hardcover is just way too expensive. But anyway, let's get into my reading month. My reading month for May was pretty rough as far as book count. As far as page count, it was pretty decent. So to get into that, Goodreads, my Goodreads goal is showing that I'm 3 books behind, so it hurts my soul a little bit, but hopefully I can catch up here. But here's the reason for it. This bad boy right here is the reason for it. Check down below in the description for a live stream video that I filmed with J.R. Carroll and Sarah Reeds. That was a great discussion, really fun. I love this cover, by the way. This is how I see it in my mind, because that's what I grew up actually watching, was this miniseries. Absolutely love it. But oh my gosh, and you can see the video. This book, I mean, it's, first of all, it's hefty to say the least. Almost 1,100 pages in mass market paperback. It is quite large and lengthy, but it doesn't read that way, frankly. So this is the craziest thing with this book, is that it reads fast, first of all, for a huge book like this, I thought. You're so deeply into these characters that you feel like you're just part of the Losers Club, as everyone knows, let's be honest. But there are some terrible things in it, and you're just like, how is this people's favorite? That was what I had in my thought process going into this, and then I read it and I went, I see why this is people's favorite. It might be it's at least top 3 probably for my favorite Stephen King books, if I count The Dark Tower all as one, and that makes sense, kind of, right? But it is absolutely great, but there are some scenes that are skip worthy, that's for sure. There's a lot of language. I mean, doesn't shy away from all the language. It is nice to know that we've grown past a lot of that language, but at the same time, as a society, and for the most part, not everyone, sadly, but I mean, for its time, it really does feel very progressive for its time, because it is a club that is very inclusive. So anyway, I don't want to get into too many spoilers. You probably already know by now, but I was so impressed. I was a little freaked out. I can't lie here. I wasn't as scared as I thought I would be, but it, I don't know. I feel like it's easier to jump scare with music and everything like that than reading. But I absolutely, I mean, I have to say I love the book, which is just crazy for me to say. If you've read the book, I think you understand. Then I finished it off with, and I kind of just, it was on my TBR anyway, and it was just good timing. I finished off More Than a Vampire by J.R. Carroll. So speaking of which, I was just on his channel. It's absolutely a blast. It's fun. It is really, I love what J.R. Carroll does is kind of take like some kind of, and that's what he did with the last, with More Than a Gunslinger, which I also read last year. But More Than a Vampire, it just kind of takes this cool concept of vampires and puts it kind of in this historical context. And so you meet kind of historical characters, but they have a different backstory in this world. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool to kind of see it happen. It's really just written with energy, and it's fun, and it's just a great story, and just a blast to read. So I cannot recommend it enough. Highly recommended there. Okay, let's get into the TBR for the month of June. As I mentioned, I'm going on vacation for the next week. Seems to coincide, I think, with Mike's book reviews somehow. Maybe we're going to the same place. We're not. I only wish. I kind of prep a number of books to take along with me, because my thought process is hopefully I'll get lots of reading time, at least on the plane. plane ride there and back. You know, hopefully there while we're there. We are going to Canada. That is one thing where I've been very proud to have a lot of Canadian viewers and I've made a lot of Canadian friends through this. So I'm going to your home country. I take that as the highest of compliments, by the way. I absolutely love that. I have some really good friends that are Canadian now, just through this channel, and I absolutely love it. So I'm finally making my way to Canada, which I've never been to before. One of the things is I gather a bunch of books, because just in case, I mean, right? What if I happen to get through the ones I planned? I gotta have extras there just in case. So I've got a number. I've also got a planned book. Probably it may or may not happen during vacation, but at least it will happen during this next month. I think that's the plan, at least, because there is a read along going on for it. So anyway, let's jump into the couple here that I have on my on what I want to read here. All right, first things first is Susanna Clarke's Piranesi. This actually is on my TBR for the year, so I'm hoping to get to it. Again, it's a slender one. You know, what if I just have all this time and I read this through? Just on the plane ride, I'm going to need more books. So very excited. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, one of my all-time favorite books, and so glad to finally get to this one. Hopefully it's a no kid trip, so I feel bad because I want to take my kids everywhere, but you know, I'm going to take advantage of what I have here in front of me. Then another slim one, I wanted to read this, Dark Kingdom by Wick Welker. I'm a huge Wick Welker fan after reading a couple books now, but this is book 1.5. Dark Theory is just excellent, highly recommended. If you haven't read it, pick it up. But this is a novella in the same series, so I figured I'd pick this one up as well. These next couple are kind of for the, so it's a business trip with my wife's business, and I don't want to embarrass her too much with the dragons and whatnot, and it's probably more of my complex. So I grabbed some books that maybe aren't as nerdy to be reading in polite company. May or may not, I don't know. But I just thought, just in case, you know, I felt the need that if, again, and I don't think she would care even a little bit. It's more on me overthinking this, that's for sure. But anyway, I grabbed The Humans by Matt Haig. This is actually recommended ages ago to me, well, to everybody, by Books with Brittany, and so I finally would like to get to it. I started just reading through a little bit, going, is this worth taking? Should I take a gamble on this? Never read Haig before, heard good things, but it seems like a fun one. So I'm excited to read that one. Then another one, not slightly nerdy, but not too nerdy. But here we are, The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. Been meaning to read this for ages. I believe it was Mahir from Fantasy Book Critic who first kind of brought this to my attention and just loved it. I could be wrong, but I get a lot of recommendations from here. So anyway, Book of Lost Things, absolutely heard great things, and I am looking forward to it. Then the readathon book that we'll be reading with a couple of great people. One of my usual groups. If I don't know if I'm allowed to even talk about it, but I'm sure I am, and they don't care. But anyway, The Lions of Al Rassan. This will be my second Guy Gavriel K. I loved Tigana. One of my lists coming up, it mentions Tigana, and so I actually talk about it a little bit, but I loved it. But I've heard from my most recent conversation with Joanna that this is actually even better, and I really love Tigana, so I'm very excited for this and what this brings. I've had this too long on the table on the TBR. It's an older one, and I'm excited to get into that. So anyway, that's just my start. Let's hope. What if I miraculously get through all this? It's definitely possible. So we'll see. See what I get to. We'll see what we can fit in. I'm excited for this trip. I do hope there's going to be lots of reading time. That is my plan. I need some relaxation here. It's been, as I've mentioned multiple times, I've been struggling even getting videos out. It's because I have been overwhelmed with work. It has just taken over my life. So this will be a much needed break here. I'm excited again to do one of the things I just love so much. So what do you have planned? How did your month of May go, and what are you looking at for June? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget about the giveaway, and you can see the last video. Put it in the description below, and you can check out the rules for the giveaway. Basically, just email me at shelfcentered1 @gmail.com, and then tell me which book you want, and you'll be entered to win. So anyway, I'll probably let that go through the vacation. I was going to end it earlier, but I'm like, it just feels too short. I want to make sure there's plenty of time. So it'll go through my vacation, and I'll probably announce a winner when I get back. So anyway, you got some time here, right? You got a week. So anyway, thanks so much. We'll catch you next time. Have a great week. Bye.